Hey everyone, and welcome. So what if I told you there's a killer shortcut in Java that can take a super common coding task and shrink it from 4 lines of code down to just one? Seriously, it's one of my absolute favorite tricks, and today we are going to break down exactly how it works. All right, if you've written even a little bit of Java, I am willing to bet this chunk of code looks really, really familiar, right? It's that classic if-else statement. Here, we're just checking if a number is even and then assigning a value based on the answer. It's fine, it works, but could it be better? Could it be smarter? You bet it can. We can take this whole 4-line block and squash it down into a single, super elegant line of code. We're talking the exact same logic, the exact same result, but way, way more concise. And this is our tool for the job, the ternary operator. Honestly, just think of it as a compact, specialized version of an if-else statement. It's literally built for these simple kinds of if this, then that, otherwise this. Now that name, ternary, might sound a little fancy, but don't let it fool you. All it means is that the operator works with 3 parts or, operands. You've got your condition to check, a value for if that condition is true, and a value for if it's false. That's the whole shebang. Okay, so the syntax can look a little strange the first time you see it, I get it. But I promise, once we break it down, you'll see how completely logical it is. It'll just click. So here's how it's built. First, you start with your condition, just like a normal if statement. Then you put a question mark. That question mark is basically asking, hey, is this condition true? It creates a fork in the road. If the answer is yes, you immediately give it the value for the true path. Then you add a colon. The colon is your else. It represents the other path. And right after it, you provide the value for when the condition is false. So it's condition, question, true value, colon, false value. See? Makes sense when you lay it out. And this is the absolute key to understanding it. The whole thing, the condition, the question mark, the 2 possible values, it's an expression. That means it evaluates down to a single value, which you can then just assign to a variable. And a little pro tip, make sure your true value and your false value are the same data type, or at least compatible. That's what determines the data type of the final result. All right, time for the magic trick. Let's put our original kind of clunky if-else block right next to its sleek, new 1-line version. You're gonna love this. And there it is. Look at that. On the left are 4 lines of code. On the right, the exact same logic in 1. Let's read it out. The result equals, is n even? If yes, 10. If no, 20. Boom. It's so clean, so direct. It's the same result just with none of the extra baggage. That is the power we're talking about. I mean, come on. From 4 lines all the way down to 1. That's not just shorter. In a simple case like this, it's actually easier to read once you know the syntax. It's a total win-win. But as they say, with great power comes great responsibility. The ternary operator is an amazing tool, but it's not a magic hammer for every single nail. You've got to know when to use it, and just as importantly, when to stick with the good old if-else. So when is it perfect? The sweet spot is for these simple, direct value assignments. If your if block is just doing one thing, like returning a value, and your else block is also just doing one thing, then it is the absolute perfect candidate for a ternary makeover. On the flip side, if you need to do multiple things inside your if or else block, just use a regular if-else. And please, please, please avoid nesting ternary operators inside of other ones. I know it can feel clever in the moment, but it almost always becomes an unreadable nightmare for the next person who looks at your code, which might even be you in 6 months. Always remember, clarity is king. So let's just burn this into our brains one last time. A variable equals a condition we're asking about, a value if it's true, and a value if it's false. That is the ternary operator. A clean, simple, and incredibly powerful tool when you use it for the right job. And that's a wrap. So now I've got a little challenge for you. Go open up some of your own code. I guarantee you can find at least one simple if-else block that is just begging to be transformed into a slick one-liner. Give it a shot. Thanks so much for watching.